Thug and Scarface and Kanye came.
It gets into that Houston conversation where I'm like, I always feel like the main problem with Houston, and I hate to do the problem with Houston thing, but it's never with the rappers, it's never with it's just media. Like I said, we don't have like a big media hub, and it's nothing against the people that are trying. It's just like it's just got to come together and formulate. Even at one point, she was like, "Yo, Houston's just different." Like even the people that are struggling, and it's nothing against anybody's struggle. Like it's nothing against it, but the struggle is different. Like you can struggle here and have an apartment by yourself. You know what I mean? They're like, there are people that are struggling in like California or New York or even Atlanta that are like, I share with 4 other people.
That's true.
And so you kind of build up this network, whereas, you know, she was just pointing out like, yo, in Houston, it's just different. So I like what Cam and Amy are doing is like incredible. Like just let's build up, let's get people together, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, we got to do that.
They're trying to make an industry because I always say the difference between Houston and like Atlanta or New York or Cali is like Houston and we got a bunch of niggas doing music, but no industry.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Because I think we have artists, and it's just like, you know, when you're an artist at other venues, in these other big cities, and Houston is a massive city. I think we have the same caliber of artists. They can go to a radio station that gets out past just the city. They can go to a television station that gets out. I watch Hot 97 more than I listen to Hot 97 the most. Like, that's my radio station. I've never been to New York, ever. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like, that's just how it is. So I'm going to know if Hot 97 is like, this artist is hot because they happen to be in New York, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to listen to him just because.
Yeah, you're right. I think a lot of us found out about like Casanova 2 times from that. Like, you just watch
Taxstone for sure.
Oh, you're so right.
Who put me on Cash.
Yeah, that's really what it is. I knew about Casanova when like people were like, who's this? I was like, oh, you don't know Cass? Like, I'm listening to Casanova a lot.
That's true.
I'm like, okay.
We got to do it for artists and, you know, especially for us as a people. Black people, segue. Black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Houston down to my socks.
We already started?
Oh, we started a long time ago.
This is how we start things. We just do things weird. We try to like just go ahead and ease into the conversation.
Okay, all right, well, fuck
you know
it.
what I'm saying? That's what we do.
Is this clean or how do y'all do it?
We can say whatever.
Oh, no, you can say whatever.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
We definitely don't. We don't have a contract nowhere, nothing like that.
No.
We just put it out.
Yeah,
We're trying to get jobs, though. I need a job. Yeah. Like I said, I stay Houston down to my socks, and once again, it's Avery, like a very nice guy. Ding, it's right there somewhere. Boom. Oh, it's in the corner. I'm going to get this right one day, but I suck. I got my brother over here. What's his name again? Just Devon.
Just Devon, man.
Just.
It's Just Devon, man.
Just.
Oh, they did something new.
Yeah, we did
It's been a minute
we
since
did it the
recorded.
last time.
Okay.
You suck. And we're over here with
You're right, my bad.
Manny Fresh. I'm sorry. DJ Donnie Houston. DJ Donnie Houston.
Man, you know, y'all gonna start this. Y'all gonna start it in a direction, man.
I mean, he said you look like him, and I saw the picture, and I was
said
like,
he has a Manny Fresh look. Well, he was like, first of all, my brother's a huge fan of Manny Fresh.
Yeah.
We're both a huge fan of Manny Fresh. So he likes your sampling style.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, it is reminiscent of that. I was like, okay.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
You sampled. You said, God, what was that line? It was, what did we get down to a certain level? And I was like, what did we get down to a certain extent off top?
Yeah.
Immediately.
Down
I was
to
like,
a certain extent.
yeah, I was like, and
Yeah.
then you had, you sampled, Never Had Shit from Juvenile's
G-Code.
G-Code.
Yeah.
And I was like, as soon as I heard dun.
See, you're one of the
I was
first people to
like,
catch that, man.
Bruh,
No,
you
he's a huge fan.
you don't understand. I argue people down when they be like, oh, classic albums in the last few years. And I go, well, 400 Degrees is equal to, yes, I said it, and I want this on camera, 400 Degrees is equal to The Chronic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not a,
Yeah.
I don't think that should be a huge stretch.
It can definitely be our southern representation for that.
Absolutely.
That's the way that
Absolutely.
I feel. It's the Louisiana representation because, in my opinion, the Houston representation of The Chronic came out in August, and that's Travis Scott's album.
Big fan of Travis Scott.
That's
I like
the
that
Chronic.
Travis Scott album.
That's The Chronic.
You think so?
That is like our promethazine.
It got to live a little longer, but I will
think
say
it does
that he
that.
did not miss. You know what I mean?
He didn't miss at all.
At all. And I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Like, I really wasn't expecting. And this is not like I don't like Travis Scott. I like Travis Scott.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I like Travis Scott. I'm gonna listen to this little album. And then I started playing. I was like,
Yo, I know.
he doesn't stop.
Yeah.
He's not stopping.
I'm like, if he don't win a Grammy, no, like I will be so mad because he's videos, everything. I don't even.
Travis Scott music is so good, but I never really walk away from it with anything other than like that shit sound good. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the messages in the song? But I will say this is what I do like is like stop trying to be God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This one, I feel like he kind of came really more, with some of the more content. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
Because a lot of his shit is just like rage songs or just like cool songs, in my opinion.
I understand.
And maybe I'm not young enough to understand that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's the way that I feel when I look at it as well. I go, well, this didn't, because I mean. You care about the music you was getting pussy to.
Right.
No wonder I like Manny Fresh. Like
Right.
Cash Money I was in high school. I wore camouflage.
Yeah.
I had a Cash Money chain.
You're wearing
I had a no
I'm wearing
limit chain.
camouflage now.
Yeah.
Like, golly, that was my thing. So I mean, but besides, like, as far as we got a lot of producers in Houston, Travis Scott being one of them, being on top, I guess, right now at the moment. But segue. What got you into?
I love that
production?
you're saying segue
Because it's funny to me.
every time
You
say
saying to doing what now?
What got you into production?
Production?
Yeah.
Man, DJing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Started off DJing when I was 15, and it's just like the natural progression. You know what I mean? One day I went to one of my boys' cribs who was a DJ, and he had a Yamaha, not a Yamaha, he had a Triton.
Mm.
And so I was like, what's this? And he was like, oh, well, I'm making beats now. And I'm like, making beats? And so he started making beats, and it was cool, but then he went to doing something where I didn't recognize it as sampling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he played some shit, and it sounded like some shit that, like, I usually gravitate to, which is usually, like, an older sound. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So I'm like, what's this? He was like, oh, this is sampling. Oh, I took this from this. And so he's showing me, like, oh, the things that I've been hearing on the radio, like, or my life, you know what I'm saying, on albums and shit, like, oh, this is how it was made. And I was like, oh, nah. You know what I mean? Like, nah, this is the next thing. You know what I'm saying? So I started DJing in 2000, started producing, got my first keyboard in 2006. So,
Okay. Yeah. So before that, you say you were DJing.
Yeah.
So what got you specifically into the DJ lifestyle?
Man, you know what I'm saying? Well, I got an older sister, bro. My older sister, Mandy, she's like 15 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? She graduated high school in 88. So, like, when I was a kid, she used to take me around. And this is like when LL Cool J and Run DMC and all that. You know what I'm saying? So my introduction to hip-hop was that, but my first cassette was Run DMC Tougher Than Leather. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Y'all can look up the date. This is like 87, 88.
Yeah,
I might have been like 4 years old. I could still rap that shit front to back.
Wow.
But, you know, like, Run was like my favorite out of the two. You know what I'm
course.
saying? But Jam Master Jay was the one where I was like, oh, no, I like what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then fast forward, you know, I didn't really see DJs around Houston. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it's not like New York. Like, you don't really get the culture for real. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if you're older and you're in the club, you might see a DJ, but that shit just ain't around. Like, in New York.
Right.
You know what
You're
I'm saying? So, do y'all know DJ Star? I'm sorry, Skywalker.
Yeah. I've heard of him.
So Skywalker, he does grooves, happy hour on Fridays and a couple other things. But Skywalker, we went to the same church, and one Sunday at one youth event or something, I popped up and he was DJing and he had 2 turntables and a mixer, and I was like, bruh, like where did you get this? You know what I mean? Like,
What year was this?
this is 2000.
Okay.
This is 2000. This is like 99, 2000. So immediately after that, I'm like 15 years old. Immediately after that, told my mom, this is before I was working a job and shit, you know what I'm saying? You gotta ask mom for everything, you know what I'm saying? So I hit my mom immediately, like, listen, these turntables, I gotta have them, you know what I'm saying? And like, literally, that was in the beginning of the summer. By the end of the summer, I had the turntables, and like, literally stayed in the house for a whole weekend till I figured out like the basics, you know what I'm saying? And ended up like maybe a month later buying 2 records, teaching myself how to chop, you know what I'm saying?
What were those 2 records?
The 2 records were, well, I had other records, but the first doubles I had was Mystical Shake Your Ass.
Wow. So you screwed and chopped that?
Yeah.
Natural Houston thing. 2 turntables and a mixer.
Yeah.
Screwing and chopping. That's like the last form of hip hop to me, because it has 2 turntables and you can slow it down, and you're creating something new. So being from Houston, that that knocked you out?
I was the nigga in the neighborhood.
I'm sure you were.
I was the nigga, you know what I mean? I was like, man, I was one of the first people I'm from Hiram Clark, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't grew up rich and none of that shit. So I was like one of the first people on my street with a basketball goal. That was the thing then. But when I got the turntables, I was like, oh, wait till these niggas see this.
Went back to high school. You was making tapes.
Dog, listen. We were on some shit, man. Because, we were talking about No Limit and Cash Money and all this. And so this is this era. This is 2000. You know what I mean? So, Cash Money and them, they used to be like off top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever. So we had our crew, our quote unquote label was Off Top. You know what I'm saying? We called ourselves Off Top. You know what I mean?
Who was your favorite producer?
Dre back then. You know
Really?
what I'm saying? Dre. Yeah.
Back then?
Back then. And I liked Manny and shit, but like Dre. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I understand.
I didn't get into favorite producers really on the cool until like Kanye and shit.
It makes sense. I was the same way.
Yeah. That was when, and that's around the same time I got into production as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was saying something that had something to do with something.
Off Top was the
Off Top.
Yeah.
Off Top.
So, in Off Top, it was me and about 6 of my friends, you know what I'm saying? And we would literally gather like in my mom's garage on a Saturday. You could drive down Danfield and Broadwick, located in Hiram Clark, on any given Saturday or Sunday, and see a bunch of young niggas in the garage sweating, rapping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we were in that, you know what I mean? And it was me and a bunch of my friends and this guy named Propane. Y'all know Propane?
Yeah.
Who?
So Propane.
We know
Yeah, we
Propane.
know
Of
Propane.
course.
So
He's
definitely know
amazing.
Propane.
So yeah, you know what I mean. Back then, you know what I mean. I was a DJ, and he was one of the guys who was in the crew, and he was like a couple years young. Like, I still have tapes of me being, 15, 16, him being like 12, 13. You know what I mean, rapping
Golly.
and shit. Like yeah,
That's perfect. Okay.
Now you started off. You said your first tape was Run DMC.
Run DMC Tougher Than Leather.
So when did you? If you were talking about getting into like Houston culture. When do you start listening to like local Houston artists?
The first thing I remember hearing from Houston was Mind Playing Tricks on Me.
Okay.
Like I remember hearing it and being like, "That's a dope song," and then my sister being like, "Oh no, they from Houston. They from Fifth Ward, from the North Side."
Yeah, that's
When he said dropping them Fifth Ward B's, he meant, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like she's explaining to me all this type of shit or whatever. So it was that, and then after that, you had shit like sitting in the Harris County jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The convict shit like that. And then you had, and I didn't know they were from Houston at the time. I didn't know the convicts were from Houston. I just knew the Ghetto Boys were from Houston.
Yeah.
And then I heard this guy. And then she scratched me on my booty. Like everybody in the world, you know what I mean? Like
That voice.
I remember hearing that, and I didn't know that they were from there. But I'm just saying, like, this is my order of just remembering hearing music and shit. And like, this is from Houston, you know what I'm saying? Ghetto Boys, Convicts, fucking Tell Me Something Good.
No, I think we were the same way because we were moving around a lot, but I didn't know they was from here either. Like everybody you just named, I was like, oh, they on the like radio, so they not from Houston. Like that's what I kept thinking. So when people was like, oh no, the Ghetto like Scarface from Houston. I'm like, nah, he's not. He ain't from Houston. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, our uncles told us. I remember because our mom, grandma, they're from Fifth Ward. I remember going to a party, and they had a record player, and one of them pulled out the record for Mind Playing Tricks on Me, and I immediately was like, well, if hip hop is like somewhat a young man's thing, I was a kid, so in my mind I was like, how old is this?
Yeah.
Like, you got a record?
When did this come out?
Like, when did this come out? This must be when you were a kid. Because
the only records they pull out would have been like Anita Baker.
Yeah, it
Al
was
Green
old
and
records.
and stuff like that.
And
I
now
was
that-
like, oh, Mind Playing Tricks on Me must have come out like right after Luther's.
Exactly.
After Luther's second. Like, that must be
It must be a whole. I'm like, why would you have this? And now I'm like, oh, it's Neighborhood Pride. That's why you have it.
Yeah. That's really what it was.
Yeah. So it was that, and then then you fast forward into getting to middle school, and that's when you get the Screw era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was like, bruh, Screw and all that shit came out when I was, the first thing I remember hearing Screw might have been like Shed So Many Tears or something.
Man.
So it's like 94 or something like that. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
classic.
I remember when 97.9 used to play Screw at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And I would record this shit. Matter of fact, Shed So Many Tears was one of the songs they would screw. They used to screw Boombastic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like certain shit like that. And I would record all this shit. But that came out, bruh, and this is like, I'm in middle school now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you in middle school. You get from elementary, middle school, you start feeling yourself. You thinking, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm in 6th grade, screw is out. I got a ball fade. You know what I mean?
You
Starts
caring,
down. You know,
caring
what I
about
mean?
the way you look.
Man, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. And I never been a slouch, but that was really when it was like, I had a friend of mine named OJ. I don't know where this nigga at right now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen him since the 7th grade. You know what I mean? OJ was from 3rd Ward. And OJ was like ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying? By ahead of his time, I mean like we in 6th grade. OJ might have been like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Old
Ahead of his time.
OG.
6th grade OG, triple OG. That's dope.
But he came in with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
nigga was 13 in the 5th grade. But,
Yeah.
hey,
what
anyway,
it is.
yeah. But anyway, OJ was the one that put me on a Screw tape and tell me DJ Screw, and he's chopping it up. And I'm like, chopping? What is chopping? He was like, man, you know, man, we beating it side to side. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I'm like, I just know it's slowed
Crossfader.
down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not knowing that what I was listening to was called Screw because of DJ
Yeah.
Screw. You know what I'm saying? But I get to 6th grade, and this guy's telling me DJ Screw, and he's playing me Screw tapes, and I'm hearing freestyles, and I'm like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? And then at the end of 6th grade, fucking Draped Up and Dripped Up comes out. Pimp the Pen.
Yep.
Okay, and that's the end. That's what.
Yeah, and
Yo.
that pretty much was like all she wrote. You know what I mean?
What do you prefer? You like DJing more or producing more?
I don't know, man. It depends on what day of the week it is. I don't really like either. You know,
He said, I don't like.
I don't
either.
like either.
I don't
I'm
like
not
either.
gonna say that. What I am gonna say is this, right? Like and I've kind of done this to myself, is like established myself as like a DJ and producer. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm more of like funny guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I do comedy and shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got into stand up comedy in
Okay,
college. You know
okay.
what I'm saying? I try to find time to do it here and there. I'm getting back to it. I'm always writing shit. You know what I'm saying? But the DJ and producing thing is just like, I'm just too deep to quit now. You know what I'm
So
saying?
you just did. This is like the same thing. I mean, you're also Donnie Houston, so like you can't leave Houston. Like you Houston.
Well, I can't. Well, I did leave Houston. I didn't become Donnie Houston. Didn't really mean shit until I left.
Because you
I
were
feel
DJ
like-
Don before. So what makes you want to stay in Houston?
Well, you know, I lived in Atlanta. I just moved
Yeah.
back from Atlanta, but
Okay.
I moved to Atlanta to do some different shit. And the only reason why I ended up coming back was because it came down to a situation where I was out there networking, meeting hella people, doing shit, but I wasn't established. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's like, okay, that's going on. It's progressive, but at the same time, I get my first radio single with Slim, the peaceful shit.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I got this radio single in Houston. Do I not go to Houston and take advantage of that, you know what I'm saying, and stay here and keep trying to build, or do I go to Houston for a while, capitalize on that, and then come back, you know what I'm saying? So the initial plan was only to come for 6 months. Came here, started doing the album with Paul Wall, started doing events, and just
And just
one
branched
thing led
off
to
from
another
there.
to where I just been here, but I'm planning on making a move like real soon. So.
Where you planning on going? Can you say?
See, we'll figure it out.
Okay, well, you got it here. DJ Donnie Houston's gonna leave Houston, but Houston still is home because I mean it's his name.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing is that, like, you know, so that's another thing. You said DJ Donnie Houston. Like, I used to be DJ Don, and I intentionally changed it to like just Donnie Houston because I wanted to do other things. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to see, like, I just did this short. Y'all know Dustin.
Yeah.
I just did this short film with Dustin like earlier this year. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
I don't want you to see me acting that and it's like, oh, that's DJ Don, and you can't take me serious as a as that because you see me doing this as a DJ when it's like, no, like if I'm Donnie Houston, I can be Nick Cannon.
I got you. So we just got to make sure people call you Donnie Houston.
Yeah,
So it's
I
not
feel
the
that.
DJ Donnie Houston
It's Donnie Houston.
of all things.
And it's to represent because at one point I was planning to move to New York and it was just like wherever I go, I'm representing Houston. I don't have to stay here. You know what I'm saying? I can take this shit with me wherever I go.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was
That's
more.
awesome.
That was more so like the reason for it.
Well, you do have a way to get, like, you definitely, when we were researching you get people together. Because, what was that? Mic Check. Tell us about Mic Check.
Mike Chuck, yeah, man. That was, you know, that's some 90s shit, man. Shit, we all grew up watching Yo MTV Raps, Rap City, you know what I mean? Like, I just genuinely like hip hop. Like,
Oh no, that's that's us. There we go. So,
Okay. Already, I didn't know what was going on.
yeah, it's okay. It scares us too sometimes. But so mic check.
Mic check. Yeah, it was just derives from the whole Rap City, MTV Raps. You know what I'm saying? Format, just a pure hip hop DJ and MC. You know what I'm saying? No glitz and glamour, just glitz and glamour rather. Just straight, talent, man. You know what I'm saying? Raw shit. Yeah.
People should go back and look at mic check because it's like just a number of artists that are still doing stuff. Like it's just like it's kind of like a who's who of who is about to be coming up in the Houston scene. So it's like you have that ear for talent, or just like when you just talk about Propane was rapping in your garage, like maybe you're just around the right people. Because I mean, it just is what it is. Like
I don't know, man. Y'all go to church?
Yeah.
I gotta ask because niggas is not believing in God. A nigga can't wait to tell you he don't believe in God.
We came up.
Our dad was a
traditional
pastor.
household.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Well,
Okay.
preacher, not a pastor.
Okay.
Not the head.
Yeah,
there you
not
go.
a pastor.
I messed that
Let's
up too one time. I was like, "Oh, you the pastor?" It's like, "Yo, daddy ain't the pastor."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
And I don't want people to be like, what church?
I was like, "Oh, never
No,
mind.
we ain't got no church. He's a preacher.
He's a preacher."
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's been like God-given talent. You know what I'm saying? Like God's like blessed me to be able to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And just really God, bro. Like I can't tell you. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of people I say all the time, and it's like you talk about like purpose and like gifts and all this other type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I know people that want to do what I do, that have been doing what I've been doing, and they may have not had the opportunities I've had. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, certain random shit like 106 and Park and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is not me bragging. It's just like that shit happens, and I be like, nigga, what the fuck is going on?
Now, how did the 106 and Park thing happen? Let's go back and talk about that. How did that come about?
106 happened. Shout out to my boy. He goes by Marcus Clay now. He used to go by Young Marcus.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've always had like a good relationship, and he was getting ready to do 106, and the conversation came up about him needing a DJ, and my name came up, and next thing I know, I'm getting a call like, hey, yeah, we're going to be doing some stuff for Marcus. Would you be interested? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, cool. So, yeah, we're going to this and that. And the first thing is 106 and Park. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
And it came at a time where, like, man, as a creative, bro, you have ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it was in, like, a down for me to where I was just like, man, I don't really know what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really needed that sign. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be shit like that where God is like showing you, like, hey, you know what I mean? Don't get too discouraged. Like, listen, you still got this thing over here. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like anytime, it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, if I ever find myself like doubting myself, like those things will happen, and it's like the confirmation of just like, bro, you can't deny God. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
How has your faith shaped you into the music industry?
and as far as what?
As far as like the decisions that you make, because you seem to be a very faithful guy.
Yeah, I ain't no saint though. You know what I mean?
understand.
Yeah, I'm not a saint. No. You know what I mean?
But I mean, what's shaping your thoughts and your actions? Like you were sitting there saying, like you stepping out on faith on a lot of stuff. I think that's what he was getting at.
It's all, I mean, it's more so like, dog, this is, at this point in my life, it's all I got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a degree. I went to school, graduated with honors, tried to work jobs, and been damn near depressed because it's like trying to put a fucking monkey in a cage. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to call myself a monkey, but it's just like you have all these things inside, and it's like, dog, you got me in this fucking box. Like, I can't do this shit. You know what I'm saying? I have no choice. And it's like, you can't go into this alone because you'll fuck around and kill yourself or catch a drug problem or a lot of these things that you see these people dealing with, because it's a lot of foul shit, and the people that you're dealing with a lot of times don't believe in the same things that you believe in.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to have something for yourself that you lean on, or you get lost in the sauce.
I mean, you have an extreme confidence. That's where I was getting to. Like, because between comedy, doing music, you got what they talking about podcast. You are really out there, and the thing is, you seem to be a very humble man because you've had, like you said, with a creative, you have ups and downs, and in this day and age, all we see is the highlight reel. So, from what my perspective, you got some Got some pretty good ups.
All people are ever gonna see it ups.
Yeah, you got some pretty good
They
ups
don't
there,
see
brother.
the
That's
down.
the up shit. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't, I'm not gonna be the nigga that's gonna get on Instagram, you know what I'm saying, crying. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, with a
yeah.
post. Oh my God, I'm just so overwhelmed right now. I'm like, nah, my nigga, I'm gonna go cry in the car. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Exactly.
I understand.
And not literally, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm gonna go handle my shit elsewhere. You feel me?
Yeah, I totally understand that.
We actually showing a little bit of your podcast now. What gets you? What made you decide to start the podcast?
I'm a podcast junkie, bro.
Okay. So
Podcast junkie. I love podcast. On top of, like I was saying, I have a degree. My degree is in broadcast journalism.
Okay.
So I've never used my degree, but this is like me kind of using it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been able to learn certain things about journalism and just like ethics and just like certain shit to where like when I talk to a Jay Prince or like a Johnny Binder who's like super gangster, it's just like
Yeah.
this is how you control yourself. Certain shit you don't do. You know what I mean? If they say certain things, react this way. Don't. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. So, you know. That comes from like school.
Okay.
And this marks the first. This is the only time we have advertised another podcast on our podcast.
Yeah, it's
So it's a big deal.
podcastception.
But we actually listen to it.
Yeah,
so-
that's true.
I appreciate it, man.
You know what I
Appreciate
mean?
it.
Okay. So we do. Oh shoot, man! I just forgot my question.
Ha, that's funny. You forgetting your question. But I didn't forget
What are
mine.
you talking about? Go ahead. Go ahead. You go.
So what school did you come out of?
Yo,
What we talking?
thank you.
High school, or college?
College.
Well, I went to Sam Houston and TSU.
So
Okay.
Yeah,
everybody else, for the most people, like when we talk to Todd, we talk to Tubo, we talk to we got half and half. Some of our people graduated college. Some of our people stopped and left and had to have that awkward conversation with their parents. But everybody we talked to, we said like, because eventually they talk to their parents about, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do this music thing full time. And it's interesting to hear the responses that the parents have. The funniest one so far is Todd's.
Yeah.
Todd's dad wrote a check for the whole amount of college and then ripped it up in front of him. It was like, this is what you did to me. I was like, yo, your dad's worse than our dad.
Yeah, that's wild.
But
that's strong.
But you finished. So once you finished,
I did. Well, I mean, I dropped out and then I went back and finished.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So okay, what made you drop out?
a couple things, man. Honestly, like I was in school like lost, bro. Like I went to school because my older sister. That's what I saw her do. She graduated from Lamar. She went to Emory. She went to law school. This is what she did. So it's like in my mind, you graduate high school, you go to college. But it's like what you do when you get there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I had no interest in being working in the business field. I never, like a lot of that shit. I was like ignorant to a lot of majors and a lot of career paths and shit. Just because like I'm the oldest male in my family on both sides with a college degree. I haven't had anybody really around me as far as a male to really talk to me about that shit. And then when I was young, I was like young and kind of like ignorant and slightly arrogant. You know what I mean? Where it was like I remember.
Well, you're the only one with the turntables on the block. Like,
I don't mean arrogant in that sense. I just mean in the sense of like know it all almost. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember the youth pastor, Howard Earl, talking to me about I was in senior high school. And he was talking to me about college, and like I was hell bent on going to Clark, you know what I'm saying, or Howard or somewhere else. And I got into Clark, you know what I mean. At the last minute, my mom was like, "Nigga, I ain't paying $22,000 a semester, or however, you know what I'm saying." And then I had to be forced to change my path. But he was like, "Man, yeah, man, don't you?" He said, "Man, I'm good at U of H, man. I can get you in over there if you want to do that, such and such." And I told this nigga at church, it's like, nigga, I don't want to go no U of H, like, so, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go no whack ass U of H. I don't want to go no white U of H. It was something to that, and to where now that I'm older, I'm like, nigga, U of H actually was a dope school. You know what I mean? Like, you young dumb ass nigga,
Pretty prestigious.
yeah. So
when you're young, you just say crazy stuff.
yeah. What was my point? Okay, so I get to college and I end up majoring in broadcast journalism. But this is because one of my closest friends, that's what he was doing.
Okay.
He went to Sam Houston. He went to major in journalism because his dad worked for like 13 and all that. And I was like, oh, it ain't a lot of math? All right, cool. You know what I mean? I'm a journalism major. Fuck it.
Hey,
so,
that works.
So I got into it and I was like, I started learning like, oh, it's like audio and like I'm doing little things where I'm like, oh, this shit is kind of cool. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I ain't really disciplined. I'm kind of a hood nigga, so I'm like going to school, but I'm doing hood ass shit. You know what I mean? So it was a point to where it was just like, all right, I got to make a decision, and school ain't gonna be the choice. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And man, dropped out of school, bro, and shit was cool. I was working little awkward jobs, and not even really working awkward jobs, but like doing music shit, like little hustles. You know what I mean? Got into it with this, not got into it, but met a guy who was like a drug dealer. The nigga had like an independent label. Hires me, starts paying me like money to do ridiculous shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and nothing big, but at the time, it's like I've never been paid this amount of money to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, okay, this is what it is. You know what I mean? This nigga goes to jail. So,
Man.
So
Yeah,
I go from
drug dealers tend to do. It happens. It happens.
And so, you know, this is like my last year of college, or at Sam, my last semester at Sam, I ended up getting like this brand new Impala and shit. What's my point? My point is this: is now I got to deliver pizzas at Domino's, and I'm pulling up in a brand new Chevy Impala. Niggas looking like how much they paying. It wasn't an SS, but it was damn near. It was like right under that. It had like all the shit going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they like, man, how much they paying y'all over there? So
I'm probably got a whole lot of Domino's employees. I'm like, man, they hiring them.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and so it was just
Domino's.
it was just that, and then going into retail, and then like getting these situations where I'm like, dawg, I'm working for people that I know I'm smarter than. You know what I mean? And I would be up for like the supervisor role. You know what I'm saying? And it would always be some bullshit. And it was like, God is trying to make you uncomfortable because this is not what you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be held up on here. And I was just like, go back to school. I went back, and then when I went back to school, I literally just went to school. I ain't do no outside shit. Like, ended up being a fucking nerd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just to knock it out.
Yeah.
I mean, look, because you're an entrepreneur. A lot of people have that. I mean, because we're definitely moving into the entrepreneur way because we've all worked retail jobs. We've all worked. And a lot of those jobs is just like, oh, I made it because I was just here the longest.
Yeah.
And you just sitting here
showed
like
up on
this.
time.
I said, I cannot do this.
You're looking at people and it's like, this is all you got. Like,
Yeah.
This is, this is your pride and joy.
Especially when I was in college and I realized like I was working jobs in college. I think I was working at like warehouse. It was definitely, I was working at a warehouse music in New Orleans.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then one of my older coworkers who was cool was just talking about the check. And then, he's like, I got to get braces for the girl and da-da-da. I'm looking at him, I was like, yo, you got to feed a family on this. I got to finish school and make money, because I was just like, this check has been cool for playing around while I'm in school. But at that time, and I was just playing around. Like, I was like, whatever. It's school. It's whatever. Like, man, I got a job. I got more money than people around me. So whatever. And now you're like, yo, in like 2 years, I'm out in the real world. I got to make money.
And then you see it, and it's like, man, you get in there, and that retail shit's a messy world. It's like, man, y'all in here fighting over crumbs, bro.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. Yes.
Doing too much work.
Yes.
For crumbs.
Yeah.
Too much
And the other
work.
thing, too, is I had the experience. I've worked for Warehouse Music, Kmart, Radio Shack. I work for a string of companies that went bankrupt. And when companies go bankrupt, like, I just know the feeling now, because the first thing when a company is going bankrupt and they're going to fire everybody in about a year, they come in and a guy that you've never seen comes in and goes, hey, y'all, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Keep your job. We going to be here for the next 10 years. Yeah. And you sit there, I was like, okay.
Bullshit, nigga.
And then all that happens, I said, I remember at Kmart, like this is the Kmart in New Orleans, man.
Bro, I worked at Kmart before I got fired from there, man.
Man, the Kmart in New Orleans, I remember they just did not deliver the groceries one day. Like the truck that comes with the milk and stuff just didn't come. And so we was all just sitting there. So everybody that worked the grocery side was just not busy. Like we ain't got nothing to stock. And it's like, well, grocery people, y'all can go home. I was like, what?
So that's it?
I'm over here on the electronic side like, they can just fire us for nothing. I was like, I got to get another job. So, yeah. Being there, I was like, yo, y'all over here, you fight for crumbs, you fight and you work hard for somebody else, and then they will fire you at the drop of a hat.
At the drop of a hat.
With nothing. Like, you see, I told people, man, even nice companies. What was that whole BeFit Foods or whatever.
Yeah.
Which was the one that just shut down and put a sign on the door?
Wait, BeFit shut down in front of us?
Nah, it wasn't BeFit. It was the health food place that was here in Houston. It was for this was like last year. They just put a sign up, and they was just like, "Yo, y'all not coming in today." I was just like, "Yo, it could happen at any time." So I just like the entrepreneurial aspect because you're just in more control of
Yeah.
your life.
You are, but again, you are in control. So if you don't do shit, nothing gets done. Like,
Exactly.
And that's everybody gets to that point where you're like, damn, like,
Yeah.
I really got to get off my ass.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is for real. I can't be fucking around.
But I mean, you seem very self-motivated with all the goings on that you have.
I am, but I mean, you know, bro, life hit everybody. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, y'all niggas caught me on a good day. You know what I'm
Got you on a good day. That's fine.
Now, who are some of the artists that you like working with? Well, in terms of production.
that I like working with?
Yeah.
All of them.
Every single I mean, well, who nobody stands out, but anybody like you, like, yo, I just really like that.
I don't know. I mean, shit, D-Lo. Me and D-Lo have made a lot of good music. Me and Pro, of course, have made a lot of good music. Me and High Peas have made a lot of good music.
Yeah.
Me and Slim have made some tight shit.
You play that Hot Peas video.
Yeah.
I like that one too.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have. I don't know that, but only because I only work with people that I want to work with.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't email beats to people. I don't like prostitute my work.
I got you.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like
Like, I probably should.
organic.
I should probably find a balance between prostituting my work and what I'm doing because I may be a little bit bigger.
You
You know
said
what I mean?
prostitute my word. That's dope.
Anybody can get these beats.
Yeah. I've always liked this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
I like Hot Peas too.
Yeah.
Like,
Of course. It was a perfect mix. It was artsy.
I like that Houston, New Orleans sound.
Shout out to the young ladies in this video. They were so nice.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice the young ladies. They're right there. That's true.
Yeah, that right there.
You look like you had fun.
You look like you had a good time.
We had a good time.
Real great time.
It's awesome.
No, Hot Peas, yeah, we definitely like that. I liked what's that one?
Dante Higgins.
The last track on Big Fat's album. Boulevard, is that? Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They got like the horns and shit on there.
Yes. Yeah, I'm all, yeah. So
that was the boy Pug did that. Actually, Pug is the one who showed me how to like record and shit. Like when I wanted to get a studio, like Pug been doing that shit since we were kids. You know what I'm saying? Like in middle school and shit. Like this nigga was trying to be a musician. I was trying to play basketball and all sorts of shit. You know what I'm saying? But you know he's been doing it the longest. So like when I wanted to get a studio, he was the only person I knew. You know that was my peer that was a studio. So he took time. Maybe at Guitar Center, you know what I mean? Showed me what interface to get and like how to record and shit like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now we gotta get Pug out here. I like Pug stuff too. Yeah. Pretty much everything. And then what else do we have here? Oh, you win in the beat battle. We had a video of it. It says DJ Don wins beat battle. Man,
DJ battle. The
DJ battle. I'm sorry.
DJ
Why
battle.
I said beat battle? Yeah, the DJ battle.
That was part of Tom P. Y'all know Tom P?
Nah.
Okay, Tom P. She's a female artist from the city, but I did a mixtape for her, maybe in 2010, 11, something like that. And so this was her mixer, and so part of the mixer was a DJ battle between me and DJ Mankind. And so I just like borrowed this little thing from scratch, and this was actually my first time doing it. I never practiced this at home. Like
really?
Yeah.
Always the showman. That's personality. That's personality.
Now you said when you were coming up that you didn't get a chance to see, I guess like the DJ culture, the hip hop culture out here in Houston. Are you seeing any of that anymore now that you've been doing this for? I mean, we're talking about 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
I've been doing that long, but not really. I kind of say that my career didn't really start for real till like 2010 when like the Houston wave came.
The wave came out. Yeah.
So, but you asked me something, I forgot that quick.
Well, we're talking about. Are you seeing more?
The
DJing
of the
culture, yeah, especially in DJing, yeah.
I can't tell because I'm around the shit all the time, so I can't tell if it's a change or not.
Okay,
you feel me? Like you have to be outside to tell me what you see.
Okay,
because I'm gonna see everything. You know what I mean? If Grief got something going, if Reek's got something, if whoever, you know what I mean? If what are these guys? The Vibes. HTX, they do parties and shit.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown and all, if they're doing something, I'm gonna see it, but that's because I'm a part of it.
See, I don't know, and that's why I always ask people. I don't know, like what we see now, like all the people you're naming. I'm like, okay, is this because we're coming up and we see these people now?
Yeah,
like,
man, Houston got to do a better job. Yeah, Houston got to do a better job, bro. Of and I don't want to overtalk you. My bad.
No.
But we got to do a better job of like putting our shit on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? Like in the 90s, and like really before the internet just got too crazy. You know what I mean? Like we were able to see all things going on in Houston for the most part. Maybe not little things like DJing and like the little like artsy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as music and just the culture and all that, like it was on the radio, it was on TV, it was this is what we're being fed. And like now that you have the option to choose whatever you want, people are choosing everything but what's going on here.
Yeah.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? With everything.
I'm seeing it's a weird growth. Like sometimes I see like a huge progression where I'm like, I see a lot of people that are out here doing it. But there is also this thing where it's like, I'm out here doing it I got to get away from Houston because you can't do it here. And it's almost like, I understand. Like I almost understand why some of you got to leave and then try to come back or something like that, because it's just like I don't feel like I'm getting traction. Yeah, you're not the first person that has told us like I felt like I was spinning wheels.
Yeah,
but we also see a lot of people that are. I'm like, it's just a lot of people out there spinning wheels. Houston does have to do a better job of like making sure everybody knows what's going on. That way, everybody can see what everybody else is doing, because there's a number of artists out here. But that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
I mean, that's really why this whole thing started. It's just because we would. I worked for Ozone. I worked for All Hip Hop. I'd be interviewing artists and things like that. And the perception from the outside is, oh yeah, it's Houston. And then when you're here in Houston, it's just like, nah. It's like there are artists here. There are artists that are putting out amazing albums. There are groups. There's a dance culture. There's an art culture. There's a graffiti culture.
Yeah.
There are all these different types. And like he said, probably, arguably, one of the last major DJ cultures of hip hop is the screw culture. Like that's one of the major things. I don't see another region that is doing something like that. So it's something that should be championed and put out there.
Yeah, I mean we're almost there too. Texas artists are they're getting their recognition. Houston just has to push forward. But I see there's a lot of rappers.
Yeah,
there's so many rappers, and I know you see it because I mean you're like the guy. You're my favorite producer in Houston.
I appreciate it, bro.
You don't like that. You don't like to say you're the guy.
That's the thing.
I like the humbleness. He's like,
I hear the Dr. Dre and Manny Fresh, and when you like the first.
I appreciate it, bro. Like you just made my Saturday morning,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate
the first song I heard from you were rapping about what was it? You said, dang it was the one with the on top beat, and it was you had a Ric Flair line in it. It had the type of mix that Dre would have, old school Dre would have. It had to me, from what I heard, it had a Manny Fresh sampled beat, and then you mentioned wrestling. Those are like my 3 favorite things
That's
on the planet.
literally his thing right there.
So
Like,
I was already
that's
sewn
all
up.
they needed.
So yeah, like when we told me we was doing this interview, I was like, I've been listening to the mixtapes and listening, and even with the albums and whatnot, and even with friend of the show, Rob, what's his name? Rob Gillette. Yeah.
Gillette, yeah.
Like one of my favorite songs is My Own, like by Rob, because I'm like, man, that's like my theme song. When I'm driving down the street, I'm always playing that song.
Shout out to Rob Gillette. That's somebody who like, so like there's the Off Top era, you know what I mean, which was like How I Met Propane. That's like the 2000 whatever, and we still been doing stuff since then. And then I met Rob Gillette like 2005
So when it was Critical.
when he was Critical.
Yeah.
And that
2
nigga-
Ks, no
that
C.
nigga's hard. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Critical is one of like when you talk about like technically skilled rappers, you know what I'm saying?
For real.
Like he's a technically skilled
Yes.
rapper. Like
Really
how
is.
like and I don't want to. Somebody's gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, nigga, you reaching." But when I say technically, I'm talking about like Eminem is a technically skilled rapper. Kendrick is a technically skilled rap. Like they flows and shit. You can the writing. You know what I mean? It's not nothing simple about it at all. You know what I mean? Rob got that shit.
Nah,
really does.
we've been saying, like, first of all, we didn't know. We told him when he came down here and interviewed us, because we talked to Rob all the time, and it was the same thing.
Friend of the show.
He had left a CD on the car, like this is at the Ozone Awards, and and you know what happens when you got these things, like you always getting CDs by pure coincidence. I put the CD in.
Yeah.
We jammed that CD for the next few years. Like I was like, yo, have y'all heard of Critical? Like, I was like, yo, no. I'm like, this dude, and it's this constant thing. It's happening more and more where we're sitting up there and we're talking about Houston music, and I'll send him something, and I'll be like, when Fat's album came out, I was like, hey man, listen to this to make sure I'm not being biased. Like, because this might be like, oh, I'm just happy Houston has like a clean sounding album. So maybe when DeLorean's album came out, I was like, listen to this so I'm not being biased. And he was like, nah, this is good. So Critical was the same one, and it was just, this was back in the day on the mixtape, and it wasn't until years later.
Yeah, last year.
Last year, where it was like we were listening to, was it Hash album? I played where I was like, dog, that dude, Rob Gillette, did Critical. Rob Gillette Critical now.
Yeah.
I said Rob Gillette is Critical.
Yeah, you said Critical, and it was like,
then I met him,
snap.
and I was like, yo, dog, we've been jamming your stuff for a minute.
So
and then,
far.
we talked about like why he took a little hiatus and all that other kind of stuff. But I was like, yo, there's some just, like you said, Rob is just technically skilled at rapping. I play people all the time the kitchen.
Okay.
No, I play the kitchen
The
staff.
kitchen staff, man.
Just so I can be like, these guys are Houston.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. If you got a sound that you want to hear, you can find it on one of these 4 and then go listen to their albums, and you'll hear other people on their albums that you should go listen to again. And people act like that. I'm like, yo, we got a whole culture down here.
Man, we got NFL Cartel Bo. We got everything in Houston.
Different types of things. I tell people all the time, it's like, we got a bunch of people making music that don't nobody care about.
Yeah.
And I hope nobody hear this and take offense to it. It's just like, think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how come we in Texas and we talking about Future, or we talking about Kendrick, or we talking about Wiz, or we're talking about everybody from elsewhere, but when we go there, they not talking about us.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
We don't have the networking thing here. I mean, as far as like with the fans, as far as how
building the fans, bro.
building
and
the fans.
And it's because, well, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but my thing is just from studying is just like, when you were hearing Houston on the radio and shit like that, they had, it was money involved, but you had shit like Southwest Wholesale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which was able to create these situations. 97.9 was playing more local music.
Absolutely.
Man.
So now we don't have any representation for real, you know what I mean, on the mainstream radio. And, there's no major media outlets out here. It's just like, you don't have Southwest Wholesale that's going to distribute your shit, because you can distribute your own shit.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I'm saying? So it's, I don't know, whoever figures out how to bring that into this world, they're going to be the one.
My theory is always, well, not always.
I think it's the radio.
Recently been is like there are certain pockets, like the stuff that's coming out of A-Leaf
Yeah.
is like, because A-Leaf is just a strong
They doing a lot.
community.
They're doing a lot right now.
As I rock this shirt,
Apple
But-
City.
No.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised at, like, you know, you hear, and you're talking to the kids at A-Leaf, and they're like, oh yeah, you heard such and such and such. I was like, who? And then you'll go and
They showing up their area.
They listening to stuff on Instagram, and these kids are going around and doing tours at the high schools, and I'm like, they building up a community. That's
The young guy
beside-
with the I don't know how to dance. that
Tiso
well, but the
Green
woe-
and
the
young,
woe-
young Deji.
He's going to
high
any high
school
school that'll
tours.
let him dance. Any high school.
I mean, my thing is, you're touring. I'm saying you're building up your fan base out here, and that's completely separate from like your Toby, who's
Maxo.
doing his own thing,
And
or your
Maxo,
Maxo.
yeah.
So I said, and these are three completely different artists,
Mhm.
and I feel like they rock with each other because they always liking each other's stuff and things like that. But I'm like, they're three completely different artists. They're three completely different age ranges.
Yeah.
They're talking to three completely different audiences.
Different audiences.
But it's just like, I was like, okay, y'all are building up something just by doing y'all in your own region that, you know, the fan, because I've heard kids listen to all of them. Like, they're like, well, I listen to Toby on a Sunday. I listen to Maxo when I want to fight. You know what I mean? I listen to Young Deji when I want to dance. And I'm like, okay, and this is all coming out of A-Leaf. This is one small spot, and they like this little sweatshirt, they rock their own clothes, they do that. I said, that's the building of something. Like, that's it. So I'm like, I got hope for it. I'm like, that's just at least coming out of Houston just on its own.
It is. I'm gonna tell you another thing I think too is that, like, Houston don't leave Houston, bro. Like,
Yeah.
You got to think, bro. There's a lot of people, you know, that just don't leave, man, and that hurts.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, we have information. We can get on Instagram and know when CIAA, when this event going on, when this complex, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have the information to be there, but we just don't go there. And I think that that's important because, like, when Houston is on, like, major media platforms and shit, like Breakfast Club, Hot 97,
Yeah.
Vlad, whatever, the first thing I do is go to the comment section. I let the interview run and I scroll down the comment
So
section.
do I. Yeah.
Anybody that represents the H, I scroll right past that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see what they're saying about the artists outside.
Yeah.
And it's always, Paul Wow, baby. Oh my God, I used to
Yeah.
love him. Where he been? And I don't want to single him out because that's my boy. I'm just saying,
Yeah, like
you can throw any name.
like Slim
No,
Thug.
same
I was
thing.
watching
Slim
All
Thug,
Def Digital, and somebody
anybody,
said
bro.
The world star.
yeah,
They love
Slim
our
Thug,
people.
Yeah.
When Slim Thug came out with the video on World Star, and everybody was like, "Oh, Slim Thug back, dog! I used to jam
That's
Slim
offensive.
Thug," and I was like, "Back."
I'm like, something never left.
He's released like 4
Yes.
albums this year.
Yes.
I said, you've been missing. They're like, oh, he rapping like he ain't lost a step.
He never did.
I said,
Never start rapping. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Stop.
saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
because
yeah.
within that time, you know, okay, he did a World Star, or, you know, they'll go to Breakfast Club every few years, or you may see like Kiki or somebody on Vlad or something like that, and it's like it's always love from the outside, bro.
Yes.
But I think that the mentality here, like, you know, we're independent town. You know what I'm saying? So if you grow up with the idea of shit, I've been able to make my money in my region.
It's true.
that-
We
that
are
could
big
be-
enough.
but
But the
because
third largest market in the United
everybody
States.
remembers them Swisher House skits.
Yeah.
All the Swisher House skits was
About
like
bootlegging
major
and all that
labels
shit, yeah.
calling y'all like, this is Def Jam. Boop. Like, I'm making my money down here. I was surprised when LES. When LES and Lil Kiki
Yeah.
Or the
Love-
Tokyo joint.
Yeah.
went to Japan. And I'm looking at they Instagram, and I'm like, dog,
The thing that tripped me out.
y'all packing
It's
out.
a big following.
These are Japanese people out here rapping with y'all.
They had a
Like,
slab out there. That's what
Dog,
tripped me out. When I,
that's
saw,
awesome.
I said they got the slab in
I
Japan.
said,
But I'm
what
sa-
is going on? But I'm like, yo, that's Houston culture.
Houston culture
That's
goes
a
everywhere.
worldwide culture.
They love
I
us,
said,
bro.
Yeah. Look
Dog.
at ASAP. ASAP
Yeah.
Rocky. I'm like, Houston culture is like even today's kind of flow is Houston-ish.
Yeah.
That da 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 da
Yeah.
da da da. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never heard that, but in Houston, and everybody flips their tongue now. Houston has a lot, but in my opinion, like I said, it's just, in my humble opinion, segue. It's just, I think a lot of it has to do with just my opinion, the radio. Like everywhere else, they play something on the radio, you hear it other places because your city's radio can extend far beyond where you're at. No matter how hard you grind, like we've said before, they had the radio back in the day. Nowadays, they don't play stuff from Houston. And I love this artist. No offense, because I don't want to get beat up. But why? Like we play more Yella Beezy than we play Houston artists. Yella Beezy's from Dallas. Love Dallas. But
True.
come on.
I think. I mean,
We've always
honestly,
had to think about
it's business tied to this shit. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know Yella Beezy's situation, but Yella Beezy. But I think he may be signed to somebody, and then when you get into systems, then you get.
That's what
It makes sense
Yeah, you know
because
what I'm
he got the remix came out yesterday.
Yeah, he just happens to be from
Yeah,
Dallas. You know what I'm saying?
Boosie,
Yeah.
Jeezy,
T.I.,
2 Chainz.
Jeezy, 2 Chainz.
Rich
I
the
was
Kid.
like, Rich.
But
yeah.
what I
Bruh.
yeah, that's what I agree with. There is this occasional artist that pops out that is signed into a system, and it's almost like even because we know Yellow Beezy.
Kurt
from the-
Cobain. You can replace Yellow Beezy with Kurt Cobain
Thank you.
4 or 5 years ago, and it's a
Yeah.
similar situation.
Yeah.
But even with that, it is the kind of a thing where it's like I feel like Yellow Beezy definitely rep Dallas. Kurt Cobain's definitely rep Houston. Once they in that system, they pump out. It's interesting to see because I'll be looking at the comment section too, where it's like the people from the outside aren't even like, oh, I love that. I love where you from. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dog, he say Dallas all day. Like all day. Kurt Cobain
it's
was
about-
always saying Houston. I was upset when people were acting like Kurt Cobain was copying other people's style.
Yeah, I was
like
like,
it was just
that's-
a weird thing.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I think that the person another thing too is like sounds and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever is able to like when I did the ride and slab thing with Propane, you know what I'm saying? Me and Pro and G&B and all, and we all did this ride and slab project. I don't know if y'all familiar with it, but
Yeah.
it's like Super Houston. You know what I'm saying? And like people took well to it, but it was like to people it was refreshing. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody was representing or trying to stay true to the sound. Not that it sounds like Ghetto Dreams. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It sounds very much like whatever year it came out, 2013 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it was the culture there, and people got behind that, just like YG. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that the one who comes out from here with that shit, like you saying, like a Yellow Beezy, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't tell he from Dallas because anybody could have rapped on that beat.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's what I mean. That's
It's
what it is.
melodic.
And everybody knows.
And it's a good song. I'm not knocking a Yellow
Yeah,
Beezy.
it's a great
that
song.
shit jamming like a motherfucker.
Love Yella Beezy. I listen to all.
But
his
it is one of
mixtapes,
those things
like-
where I'm like, I feel like everybody from Dallas, everybody from Texas know Yellow Beezy from Dallas. Like that's it. But if you went to like Jersey, they're like, oh, he got a song on the radio. I like that song. I like oh, I jam that one. And it's like sometimes the it gets lost in translation, like the story of the artist and where they're coming from, as opposed to like a YG that is like, Doc, I know why. You know YG. You know where he from.
Yeah,
You know
I
where
mean,
the
part of
gang
it is
from.
gang culture.
You know,
But I mean,
the type
that's
of
it.
crime he was involved in.
Yeah.
You
That-
know,
that-
like,
you know all that stuff. But there
I mean,
are other-
when they do have gang culture, you kind of like your mind naturally goes.
but
down
we
like,
also know the New York artists.
Yeah.
Like New York is like I've never set foot in New York, but I've been listening to New York hip hop since. I feel like if you drop me down in New York, I know where to go. Like I
know
don't know
where
where
not to go.
I know where not to go. I know where to go. I
Yeah.
can recognize street names. I can recognize street signs, and it's not the same thing.
Lyndon
where it's like,
Bully.
I've been listening to Houston music, and when they say things about Houston music, like we know where Maine and 610 is,
Yeah,
and
500 and
rappers say it all the time. But I feel like other people from outside are like, I don't know what they
I
talking
know.
about.
Meet me at the sandwich shop up on Belford and Scott.
we just not putting.
Yeah.
We don't put our shit on Front Street enough, man. Like,
Yeah,
I think we have to get out there and put it in people's faces. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like, that's the one thing that's been helpful with Sauce Walker is like this nigga will put it in your face.
He will.
all the time. All the time.
He will get it.
I like that little video he did about Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, yeah, he was on his ass within like 2 minutes. You know?
Immediately. And it almost takes that. I like the Sauce Walker and just they whole little camp. I like their energy just because they are navigating the internet a lot better than Houston artists have been before them because they're like, this is how you got to do it. Like you got to put out this content all the time.
Yeah.
Like you put this content out and you keep on doing it. You don't like my last tape. There's another one coming soon. You know what I mean? You don't like that one, there's another one coming after that. You're going to like something.
That is
and
true.
You keep on. You don't like this tape, you're going to like these videos. You don't like these videos, you're going to go back and listen to that. And it just keeps on going and going till one day it's just like, oh, they here.
Yeah.
This is just
I'm
what
gonna tell
it is.
you something else, and I don't want to get too deep into my theories. You know what I'm saying on the podcast, but
We can.
Another
No,
one
we can.
is
We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, no, another one is just like the history of Houston and our way our path to success has always been, with the exception of rap a lot. You know what I'm saying? When I'm saying Houston as we know it,
Yeah.
the radio, but before the radio, the DJ.
Yeah.
There was
That's
one
true.
central plate. You know what I mean? There was one central person. So you had Screw who introduced you to 40, 50 artists. You know what I'm saying? You had Watts who introduced you to another side of artists. You know
you're
what I'm saying?
right.
True.
And then you have Sauce Walker, and they're coming with, it's not a DJ, but it's a gang of people. So they coming with these like Houston is made success off movements, whether it's Screwed Up Click, whether it's Swisher House, now it's TSF. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we haven't been able to. We not a one off like, oh well, we'll just grab Future, we'll grab Rich Homie Quan, we'll grab, and we got solo artists just popping up every year. Like, nah, you got to put together a movement down here to have some
Makes
type
sense.
of
That's true.
some type of noise, like. Because there's so many people doing so much shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That is true.
If you got 15 people on your team and I got 2 on mine, who you think they gonna notice?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Man, I'm hoping with the way, because we were talking about Young Desi, I saw him in the Sauce Walker video.
Yeah.
Like, it is a thing where it's like, okay, now you see you've got these artists that are like, yeah, you're right, we come in waves.
That's true.
Like, big wave. I think the thing is, once the wave gets out there, keeping it out there.
And that's what happened with, I think, like the 2010, you know what I'm saying? Like when you got the Propane, D-Lo, Dante Higgins, Les, Doe Beasley, like you got introduced to a slew of artists, you know what I mean? We weren't under the same umbrella.
But it was.
But it's that kid.
But we had a movement.
Because a
That's
lot of
the
people
click.
a lot of y'all, they associate a lot of y'all
Yeah.
together. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is it.
Yeah, I just wish we would have capitalized on that, man.
I mean,
You still
You
can.
still can. You still
In my
can.
opinion, I want this one record. You and Young
You still
Desi
can.
make a tape. That would be it. Because you got that old Houston sound mixed with the new, and Young Desi got the new flow. Like everybody likes the melodic stuff.
And they love
Yeah.
that dance.
Y'all mix that together. Like it would be so perfect. Because I mean, I like his beats, but I'm like, you have that.
I gotta check his music out.
You
I
got
didn't
that.
know he rapped. I thought he just did like dances. and
No,
He-
bro, he
I'm not gonna
raps.
lie. And he has a
raps.
nice, he has a nice package together.
Yeah.
Like they sent us something like it wasn't they know somebody else was like, yo, take a look at this kid.
Yeah.
And his first mixtape was like a video mixtape.
Yeah.
It was a mixtape, it was a video, it was a lot, and I was like, this is well put together. I'm like, how old is he?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, he just graduated high school. It's like, what? So yeah, and then that's just what it is.
Like we talked about with Travis Scott before. I don't know what it is. I guess it's human nature is a Houston thing. When you when you first hear something, like I don't know, maybe it's just a personal thing between my brother. When I first hear something, like the comedian in me is looking to hate on it, just straight up.
Just automatically.
Yeah, automatically.
Yeah.
So when you like, I identify with you with the Travis Scott, I was like, let me hear this.
Yeah.
Well, let's say, oh my God, like that's how I felt about Young Desi. I go, okay, I gotta listen to this. What?
Yeah,
Like what? And
yeah.
then every day, I
Wait,
would
so
get
what's
my
the? I'm
car.
finna look him up now.
13 Reasons Why.
13 Reasons Why. Is a
But
nice little
that's
thing.
what we did. We met connections here, and we're gonna connect you with us once again. I'm Avery, like a very nice guy. Yep, right there. Connect you with me. You can follow me, Carlton Banks. I'm a failed producer, and I'm a comedian. And we gonna go out with Jess Devon.
I'm just Devon. That's
He's
it.
Jess Devon.
That's it.
And we're ending it with the friend of the show, super producer, Donnie Houston.
Yo,
Donnie Houston.
man,
Don't
listen,
say the DJ. Donnie Houston.
Listen, I appreciate y'all having me, man. This has been it's been dope.
This is
So
good.
when are y'all gonna launch?
Man, we're gonna try to get everything out because
That's where you should cut it.
honestly, we going around. Now you can keep this going. That way people record it because we want to showcase Houston. Like, oh no, you can still fade to black. Like, we ain't paying the extra money. But yeah, it's like we trying to showcase Houston. So it's not even just the artists. Like, I got a problem with the fact that it's like when people come to Houston, every time, like when the Super Bowl come, all the articles go